some behind the scenes when I'm appearing on Law and Crime. In this video, I'll show you how it looks remotely here in Texas when I'm appearing, and also in New York where the Law and Crime studio is. I will also be sharing some insider tips on how to speak in public, so stay tuned! Hi there, my name is Catherine. I'm a lawyer and I also think differently. I appear on 3 different kinds of shows for Law and Crime. The first one is the Sidebar Podcast. That's when you see me with Anjanette Levy or Jesse Weber. The second is the Law and Crime Daily. That's with Brian Bachmeyer and Terry Austin. That is about a 30-minute show at the end of each day where we wrap up all of the trials for that day. And then the third one, which is what I go on every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. So it's a 2-hour show. That's the Law and Crime on the Record. The host varies. It just depends on the schedule for Law and Crime, but that's where I am on the show consistently every Friday. For Law and Crime Daily and for the podcast, I am called upon when there's some important issues that they'd want me to talk about, and also depending on my availability. For the Friday show, I always try to be available for that, to have that as a regular schedule of mine. That's why here you'll see that I am wearing different kinds of clothing because these have been filmed throughout the week and several days. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hi guys, so part of being a public speaker and a legal analyst is trying to maintain my hair. Only because I always get roots and white hairs right there. I am very low maintenance. Other than that, as you probably have noticed, I don't even get my nails done. That's because I have 2 young boys and never get my nails done. Whatever kind of nails that is, it always gets ruined because I wash my hands so frequently and I play really, rough activities with my boys, and so it always gets damaged. So it's not worth it for me. And besides, I don't like long nails too. Anyway, I'm trying out this new place in Plano, and here's the area. It looks really pretty. I'll tell you how that goes. Bye.
A few moments later.
Getting my collar done with this funky music. Love it. Let's see how this is gonna turn out.
2,000 years later.
I love my new hair color. What do you guys think? No more roots. Yay! I'm ready for Friday for Law and Crime at noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you soon. Bye. Since I go on Law and Crime on Fridays, the day before, I try to watch Law and Crime live online so that I know what the testimonies are. The day before, I can be better prepared. Right now, they're talking about Alex Jones' trial, and he is on the stand, so this is going to be very interesting, and I can anticipate that we'll be talking a lot tomorrow about his testimony from today. Then, later on today at 5 p.m., I will be receiving an email from Alyssa, our booking producer, regarding the topics that we will be talking about tomorrow. Sometimes I even get a follow-up supplemental email Friday morning or an hour before I get on air. So everything is live, everything is impromptu, and we just have to be on our toes. Very exciting, isn't it? Hi there, it's 9:31 p.m. Thursday. Now that my 2 kiddos are fast asleep, I can go ahead and work by preparing for my Law and Crime show tomorrow. So today, I received an email at 5:24 p.m. from our booking producer, Alyssa, and we get that email right there that tells us what the topics are that we will be talking about tomorrow, basically listing the high-profile trials that we're going to cover at the show tomorrow. So for tomorrow, it will be 3 trials. Alex Jones, Connecticut defamation lawsuit. This is where Alex Jones alleged that the Sandy Hook massacre shooting at the school was a hoax. Some of the parents of those victims are suing him for defamation. We're also covering the second trial is Pike County Massacre, Ohio versus George Wagner IV. Another sad story where in Ohio this is the biggest and most complicated murder there because basically 8 family members were executed in their sleep by another family because of child custody issues. It's horrific and it's sad and just mind-boggling. The third trial that we will be covering tomorrow is the Parkland school shooter trial. This is where Nicholas Cruz pled guilty to the high school massacre, also high school shooting, Parkland school. And since he already pled guilty, this trial is only the penalty phase where they're trying to figure out, where the jury will have to determine whether or not he will get the death penalty or life in prison without parole. So these are 3 very, very sad and emotionally charged trials that we will be covering tomorrow. Now, here's the thing that you might not know, and I didn't know this when I first signed up on Law and Crime. The legal analysts do not know what the questions will be. So when we are on air live, we don't know what they're going to ask. We usually watch the trial live, and then when we find a break point during the trial, for example, a sidebar or there's a lull in the middle of the trial, then we get asked the question regarding what we just watched. So obviously we won't know what the questions would be, and we have to just be paying attention and watching the trial to legal issues, factual issues, objections, the judge's ruling, and all that. So it's really fun in terms of you're always on your toes trying to figure out what the issues are and also what the potential question will be, and then be able to answer that. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and prepare and catch up on how this trial has been, and tomorrow will be go time. I really try to prepare for every show because I consider it as my service to the people who are watching the show to learn about the law, learn about the trial, and learn about the truth. So every time that I get on the show, I try to prepare as much as I can, such as reading the rulings, reading any articles that are relevant to that trial, especially making sure that I'm up to date as to what our booking producer sent us regarding the particular trial the day before, because these are live trials that we are covering, and so we want to be up to date. So I'm really trying to prepare and make sure that I have everything down and I can provide the best legal analysis tomorrow, not for me but for the viewers. I was so hungry, I forgot to just record my breakfast routine, but really there is none. It's very chaotic in the morning in terms of I have to prepare my eldest son for school, and then my husband drops him off at school. But today my toddler woke up early as well, so the whole family went on a road trip to my son's school and dropped him off, and then we went to Einstein Brothers Bagels for our breakfast. So we actually had bagels today. Sometimes we just have McDonald's. I like the breakfast burritos there. I try to eat as much as possible for breakfast because I'm on Line Crime from noon to 2 o'clock, which is lunchtime. So I usually end up having late lunch, like 3 o'clock, and I'm starving by then. But I'll show you later how I try to keep my energy up while I'm on Line Crime, even though I won't be eating until 3 o'clock. It's past 9. Just finished my breakfast. Of course, gotta have coffee. Hello. Who's this little assistant right here?
Me!
You? And who's me? What's...
Do it again.
Okay, let's do it again. And of course, you gotta have coffee. Who's my assistant? Who's this guy? You. Yes, My morning routine involves my toddler here. Hi. Hi. So we're gonna go get ready now. You're looking for my earbuds? Right there.
Hi.
Yeah, you wanna listen too?
Yeah.
Alright. Bye guys, say bye.
Bye.
Hi there, it's Friday morning around 9 o'clock a.m. I will be on Law and Crime at noon. So right now I'm just preparing. I am very low key. I have no special routine. I put my own makeup on. I do my own hair, which is basically just combing my hair straight and make sure there's no tangle and just fixing it a little bit. I'm very low key. So I also try to listen on Law and Crime. That's why I have this AirPods while I'm putting on my makeup and doing my stuff to get ready. But other than that, it's very straightforward. So I said earlier that I was going to prepare, put my makeup on, get ready, but that got derailed because my toddler needed me and it's perfectly fine. So all those working moms out there, just relax, take a deep breath, and it's okay if your plans don't go that way you wanted it to. Sometimes your kiddos just need you. Giving them a quick hug and helping them with what they need also makes a great bond. I love being a mom, and so being part of that includes helping take care of my kiddo when he needs me. So we'll go ahead and try for the second time to prepare. Let's see if I'm successful this time.
One hour later.
Hi! I'm on my way now to my office for my Law and Crime. It's about 10 o'clock. I will be on Law and Crime at noon. That gives me a couple of hours to just set up and get ready. In the meantime, as I drive to work, I am also listening to Law and Crime live on my phone. That's why I have my AirPod, so that I can be up to date as to what's happening in the morning just right before my appearance. I really like being well prepared because I want to serve the audience and make sure that I provide them with the information that they need to really understand the trial. If I focus on serving the audience and serving others as opposed to, oh, do I know what's going on? Do I know what to do? Then I'm no longer anxious about being on air live, but I am more focused on the viewers and making sure that I do a good job for them, not a good job for me specifically, but for them. That's one way to relieve anxiety when you're a public speaker, which is focus on your audience so that you don't have to be focused on yourself and your possible mistakes, because if you're thinking of other people, then the focus becomes them instead of you. See you soon. We are now at my office. I move around our office, and this is the office that I want to go and do my Law and Crime today. Sometimes I do it on the second floor of our office because it has that nice view. This office has a lot of light as well, natural light. Let me show you that real quickly. There you go. Woo! So I love it in this office. So now I'm going to set up all my cords, and since I'm doing a behind the scene, I'm gonna rearrange some of the furniture so that I can put the tripod in a way that you can see me. So just gonna go ahead and show you all that. Now here's my high-tech riser. I do have a riser, but I don't like using it, carrying it around, so I got rid of that. Then my camera that I use, and there's the cord for the camera. And then here's my cord for my power outlet. Here's my cord for my Ethernet right there. You know, our Wi-Fi isn't strong enough, and sometimes I get dropped from Skype, so I'm using Ethernet now and hardwire so that I can make sure I'm not dropped during live. That's not good. And then of course I have my phone and my AirPod charger, and then I also have backup earphones for my phone and backup earphones for my laptop. I always try to have backups of backups, so that I'm prepared and I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to be frazzled. Of course, things are not always going to be perfect in anything that you do. Anticipate that. If that's your baseline, that nothing's going to be perfect, then it's okay. You won't get frazzled, especially when you're live on air. If you can't hear them, that's fine. You'll just figure something out, or the tech people will help you out with that. But no need to get worried, but at the same time, you want to be as prepared as you can. That's why I have backups to my AirPods, because sometimes, what if they die or my AirPods just mess up with the Bluetooth? So trying to be prepared. And I will have coffee as well there, but there's my setup. Woo! There you go.
Meanwhile,
we are about to see the Law and Crime Studios. This is where our host sits. When we have an in-person guest like we just did, they will sit right there. Look, hello Brian. He's on Law and Crime Daily right now. Boom, super cool. This is Law and Crime. Welcome. I'm gonna give you a little glimpse. Thank you for following Catherine. She is an absolute joy. Super wonderful to have her on Law and Crime all the time. I hope you enjoyed my little tour.
So joining me to talk about this is Aidan McLaughlin. He is the editor-in-chief at Mediaite, and Catherine Lizardo, who is a plaintiff's attorney and a big friend of Sidebar and mine. So welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Me. Well, what's ironic about here is the reaction of the student somehow validated how that meme was actually very effective in provoking to younger audience, especially college students, that kind of emotional reaction to politics. I went to UCLA for college, and so I saw a lot of people always coming there and trying to influence the impressionable young minds. I can see the concern in both fronts.
And I can too. For his part, Benny Johnson released a statement on Twitter that said, in part, "We often say the left can't meme. Tonight we proved it."
So I just finished my podcast interview with Anjanette Levy at 11:30. I received a text from Alyssa Fisher, our booking producer, asking if I'm available to talk about an issue for the podcast. So I received her text at 11 and asking me if I could get on at 11:30. Luckily, I'm always prepared, and so I said that's fine, and I just got on and finished that with Anjanette. I'm just waiting for Law and Crime to call me on Skype to connect me live. They're running a bit behind, so that works out. See, it always works out. I just finished a podcast with Anjanette. I thought I was late for Law and Crime, but then Law and Crime is also running behind, so it all worked out. No sweat. I'm listening now to Law and Crime Live here on my phone, which I will also be recording while I'm live so that I can use the clips here for my social media later on. So go ahead and take a seat. it's 11:30, 30 minutes to showtime. So what I usually do is I try to get prepared, get that blood going, and I do this even when I'm going in front of the court, in front of the judge. I have a hearing coming up, I have a deposition. Just right before I start moving, get that blood going, and I try to stand up like this with my feet parted. There has been studies that if you stand tall like this, it helps your body and your brain feel more powerful and more confident. And that's what you want to show when you're speaking in public, whether it's in court or when you're speaking to someone, a job interview, or in a group setting, or live on air. So I would do this, close your eyes, stand tall, take a deep breath, exhale. Do that 3 times. There you go. And also, most of the time, we haven't been talking much, especially if you're working from home or you're driving to court, been stuck in traffic. So what I do is I try to exercise my mouth so you can start talking. You know that feeling when you haven't talked for a while and then you start talking. So I try loosen up your mouth, or roll your tongue. Ba 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 ba. I know it kind of looks weird and silly, but it's what you do so that your face and your hands, your body is ready. If you want to show your best, you try to just get ready. So I'll finish some of my exercises while I'm listening to Law and Crime, and we'll take some shots of behind the scene. Let's talk about a very important topic, which is what to wear. So I like wearing solid colors so that it's not too distracting when you're on camera. Also, I have a white wall in my background, and usually I do have a white wall depending on which office I like to use for the appearance. So I don't wear white. Also, don't wear green. Just in case you're going to be behind a green screen, green doesn't look good, or else you'll look like a see-through invisible person. But I like wearing blues, reds. Also, as you can see, I don't wear jewelry just so that it doesn't distract again from me talking. But that's not a general rule of thumb. I've seen hosts have jewelry, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just not a jewelry person, as you can see. But I just like to keep it simple. And my hair, very simple. I literally just comb through my hand and just fix it like this. I don't even blow dry it. I air dry it, and I just comb it down just to make sure there's no tangle, and that's about it. The top part is what you see on the TV, right? Or on air. So that's really what I'm looking for. So I'm looking at the camera right now, trying to see, okay, looks good, fix that. And then the bottom doesn't really matter because they won't see. If you want to wear pajamas, go ahead. But I wear jeans most of the time, or just my casual slacks, because I want to be comfortable. And also I just want to be in character instead of being in my pajamas, so that I'm not too comfortable, because I want to be active, live, and just, moving and talking and lively on camera. If I'm wearing my pajamas, I might feel too comfortable and be a little bit more mellow. So I like the energy on air. And in terms of shoes, I actually wear sneakers, because just in case I need to run to the bathroom in the middle of the show, then I can go ahead and just run there instead of wearing like high heels or anything fancy. So anything comfortable, that's me. Simple, functional, comfortable, that's me. So that's what you see on air, and that's what I wear. And my makeup is so simple as well. I do it myself, and everything else is ready. The simpler, the better, so that I don't have to use my brain power for other things that are not as important to me. What's important to me is knowing what the case is about and what the message I will be saying on air. That's why the whole time I was setting up, I'm wearing AirPods, because I'm listening on my computer live as to what they're talking about on Law and Crime. So when I get on, it'll feel seamless for me, and it will help the host too, because I already know what was happening beforehand. There's a break now on Law and Crime. It's 11:57. This is about the time that they will call me, and Skype will be ringing soon. So there you go. I hear them here, but you won't hear them because I'm supposed to wear my AirPods. Hello? Yes, I can. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Happy Friday. I'm good. Yes, I am. Hi, nice to see you again. Or here. Good, good. How about you? Perfect. Yeah. I'm a plaintiff's attorney from Texas. Perfect. Thank you. Sure. Okay. How's that? Okay. Tilt it down more. Oh, I can still tilt it. Hold on. There you go. Thank you.
I have to wonder, how is the jury understanding all of this? Because there's so many details, so much to understand. Chris Roden and Billy Wagner as business associates, according to Kendra Roden there. So you have these familial ties and then these illegal business ties. What do you take from all of it?
Well, first of all, I have to commend this witness. Kendra Roden is a very smart witness and a very good friend to Hannah Roden here. But as a smart witness, she was picking on what the defense attorney was trying to get at, which is that the murders could have been related to the drug business and not necessarily his client. But since she's starting to hear that objections were being sustained regarding hearsay objection and lack of personal knowledge, foundational issues, so now we hear her saying, I said that to the BCI agent, but based on hearsay. And I thought that was very good of her to pick up on legally. But in terms of the business associates, yes, we are now seeing ties of the connection between the two families. Just because they had a drug business does not make them necessarily bad people that would cause their murder, and that's why the prosecutions are objecting rigorously on this.
You're right, she's a very astute witness, using phrases that, attorneys use. Well, Kendra was excused for a bit on the stand, and she may be back now, but I want to ask you briefly about how you think the jurors are interpreting this cross-examination, because she seems very confident in what she's saying, and now it's the other side who can sort of pick apart things that she said to damage their client.
I think the cross-examination wasn't as effective as it should be. It seems that the defense was having a hard time getting out the information from her because, as we talked about, she picked up on what she needs to say so that the objections will stand, such as hearsay and lack of personal knowledge. However, though, because the defense was able to actually say words such as marijuana trafficking, business associates, and more than just that Christina had more than just marijuana trafficking.
Catherine, we're going to have to leave it right there. I can't thank you enough for your expertise. We really appreciate it. Keep it right here on Law and Crime. Afternoon session with Michael Bryant is next. I'm Dimitra Ganyas. Keep it right here and have a great day.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye. That's a wrap. We just finished it. I kind of got caught off there because there was a hard break. When there is a hard break, meaning that the break has to happen because we're ending the show. So whichever person is still talking, the host has to just cut them off. I didn't realize that I was getting a little bit over the time, and so that's why she had to cut me off at the very end. But I was already done. I really just wanted to say at the end that you cannot unring the bell, and so I'm practically done. But there you go. That's a wrap. Yay! Now it's time for me to have my late lunch. I usually eat my late lunch around this time, around 2 o'clock. That's why I was filling up with my protein shake. I'm not getting paid for showing my protein shake, but I just show that because that really helps me have the endurance and energy to keep going throughout the day as well, instead of having bad snacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat my lunch now. I am getting ready for my Law and Crime Daily show today. It's at 3:45. I have 2 minutes, but I wanted to say hi because we're doing this behind the scenes. Law and Crime Daily is different from Law and Crime Trial Network because Law and Crime Daily is only 30 minutes as opposed to my guest appearance every Friday from noon to 2 p.m., 2 hours, of course. Right now, I am getting ready to hop onto Zoom, and I have my setup here, and I even have this Post-it note right here that tells me when my stops are in terms of if I am the first person talking, I should stop at 60 seconds. If I'm the second person, I should stop at 15 seconds. That's because the producer will be telling me the time in my ear. As soon as the question is asked of me, then they'll go 90, 60, 30, 15, kind of like that countdown. So when I hear 60, I should about getting ready to wrap up if I was the first person to be asked. And if I'm the second person to be asked, then I wrap up around 15 to give the host a chance to wrap up that segment. So let's see how that all plays out, and I'm really excited.
Joining us today is legal analyst Catherine Lizardo and co-host Terry Austin. Catherine, did the prosecution start off strong in the rebuttal case? If so, with what?
I think they did. As we saw, they started off by actually admitting the AR-15 gun, physically admitting it as evidence, and also the magazine in the boot with the swastika symbol on there. Those are very important because we've been seeing how in the defense side, they've been humanizing Nicholas Cruz, and we've forgotten about all of these physical evidence. But by starting off by showing how big and ominous that AR-15 is, that brings that back, that memory back into the jury's mind. Now, just because the swastika and the AR-15 could be prejudicial to Nicholas Cruz doesn't necessarily mean that it's inadmissible or violates his due process. The Florida Supreme Court actually has had a separate case that allowed swastika to be admitted into evidence under circumstances that are more heinous than this.
Absolutely. Now, Terry, after the prosecution's rebuttal, I know we're looking ahead a little far. What happens next in the trial?
Well, you're right, Brian. It is coming to an end after both sides rest. I expect that we'll see motions. We'll see renewed motions. I definitely think the defense is going to make a renewed motion for a mistrial because we've seen that happen several times. And then I think, obviously, they're going to try to finalize those jury instructions. And, of course, we'll have to see closing arguments and deliberation. But deliberation is only going to be about the damages, as we know, because he's already pled guilty to all of this heinous massacre. So we'll see what happens after all of this, but they'll go straight to deliberations and see how much, comes out, whether he's going for life or death.
Of course, again, it's not about a question of innocence or guilt. Again, as Terry said, it's about life or death.
If you like this video, please go ahead and click subscribe below. Also, write your comments below and let us know what you think of our behind the scene. Any other questions you have about how to speak in public and what you saw in this video. Also, if there's any other topic that you'd like us to cover, please go ahead and let us know as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we appreciate you.